But I think 6-11 is fine. I like Yuri says, does 6-11 keep Callahan's job? Yes.
That was good. Yuri, that was my follow-up.
I mean, I don't. They're going to have. It's going to have to be unmitigated disaster with other stuff for Brian Callahan to get fired. That is I'm sticking my neck as far as I can on that. I think Brian Callahan, I've said this on other shows, Zach, but not to you. I think Brian Callahan is more likely to be here for 2027 than he is to get fired this year. They are that much against firing him this year. Now it might be anything. But here's my point. It might be a 5% chance that he's here in 2027, but it's like a 2% chance he's fired this year. That's my point. I think they are that against it.
On that. I think NFL seasons for bad teams are defined how you start. Last year was a defining moment. The Jets and the Bears game, the Titans could have won.
Yeah.
Some say should have, right? But they didn't. Ifs and buts, beer and nuts. How they start their season, I think, will define how the Titans, can they steal this? I'm not saying they steal the Broncos game, but can they steal the Colts and the Cardinals game early to start 2-3, and all of a sudden you're kind of creeping back on 500. You're there. You're not 1-4. You're not 1-5. You're not 2-6. You still have some of that at 2-3. Can they do that? I looked at the schedule and I sat there and I said, I think they could probably split with Jacksonville and Indianapolis. That's 2 games. Home and away doesn't really matter, right? They could beat Arizona. There's 3. They could beat New Orleans. There's 4. They could beat Cleveland. There's 5.
You're skipping over the Raiders?
I think the Raiders are going to be better than one thinks. I would take, I don't know what the over-under Raiders season total is.
Not much different than the Titans.
I would take the over on the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders play in the AFC West where they got 6 really tough divisional games. So that's a hard thing to have the win total.
Correct. But I also think that they've got a good head coach and experienced quarterback. And look, they don't have the wide receivers that they need, but I think Brock Bowers is pretty damn good. And I think defensively, Pete Carroll is going to help that team. So the Raiders are maybe my top. That's my toss-up. I'm in between 5 and 6. I will, for the sake of Cam Ward, go 6 wins. I'll agree with you. I did bet over 5.5. I wish I would have gotten it 4.5, but I have 6-11, and I'll give that 6th game. Maybe it's Jacksonville, a meaningless game at the end of the season. So I think that's kind of where they are. In a weird world, I don't think that they're going to win 3 games and be the worst team in the league again. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think in a weird world, they can't be great. I don't know if they can't win the division. I think that they could maybe pressurize some things down the stretch, but I think they're a 6-win team. I am different though, Austin. I do not think that solidifies Brian Callahan's job.
Okay.
I think Brian Callahan needs to win 7 games to solidify his job.
That's not what they think.
I don't think you know what they think.
I think I know more than
one decision maker. There is one decision maker that makes all of the decisions. And she is the controlling owner. And what she says goes. And she will fire anybody she feels like she needs to fire. So I don't think you can say that. I actually know you can't say that.
I think
and that has been proven. That's not just a hunch. That's history.
And look, people pointed out to Teron Davenport's report in training camp that they considered firing him after last year. Like, of course they did, but they didn't. And so their stance, again, Zach, talk them out. The Titans' stance is that because they did not fire Brian Callahan and they drafted Cam Ward, they're committing to at least 2 more seasons of Brian Callahan.
Give me a break.
That's what they're doing.
baloney.
No, it's not. That's what they're telling people. That's what we know.
What did they tell about, Rand Carthon, he's going to be the stable of this franchise. He is going to put us in the next. He's got so much experience from the 49ers. Well, Ken Wisenhunt, they tell you so much BS. It doesn't matter. Exactly. It does not matter.
Different.
Don't be fooled. You've been doing this long enough, Austin.
I
know. Not be fooled.
I know, but I do think there is a different approach from the front office this year that they understand what this is. Like they have had the pie in the face too many times and trying to avoid the rebuild, avoid the reset, avoid all those words. And they are accepting it.
We got Micah Parsons for 3 more years. We got him for 3 more years. Not 1, not 2, but 3 more years. So we are not trading Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is
Jerry
an unbelievable player, and we got him for the franchise tag, and then we got him for another franchise tag. But he's here. We're not trading him. Zach, don't listen to what they say. I'm telling you that.
Okay. So just nothing matters. It's just right.
Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. There's your trivia answer. Yes, you got that one correct. Nothing matters.
I'm saying
they
that
will
sarcastically,
say, or they will say, but they will do anything.
It will take so much for Brian Callahan to get fired. So much for him to get fired. They view Brian Callahan getting fired as the worst case, the absolute worst thing that could happen to Cam Ward.
And don't put I like Brian Callahan. Now, let me put this on the record. I am not cheering against this. I don't think that this is likely. I just think I do not listen to anything anyone says in the NFL. That's what makes the drama, because what you think is not reality. I think Brian Callahan has a great demeanor. I think he's smart. I think he's been around really good quarterbacks. I think he can manage an offense. I think he can put Cam Ward in positions to be successful. I also like that he's given the keys to Cam Ward. He supports Cam Ward. That's what you need. He's not trying to take the limelight from Cam Ward. Cam Ward is the face of the franchise in the future. Brian Callahan knows it. Cam Ward knows it. Amy Adams-Strunk knows it. The front office knows it. I want Brian Callahan to be successful, but I don't trust. This is not just Amy Adams-Strunk, any owner in the NFL, to not make rash decisions based on circumstance. History shows they do that all the effing time. So you saying, I guarantee, I don't put any weight to that.
Okay, because the reason why it's not going to happen this year is because the Titans have been doing this the last 3 years. It's been 3 years in a row. J-Rob, Vrabel, ran, and they're sick of doing that.
They're don't care.
They do care. That's
obviously they don't.
They do. There was a justified reason for firing Rand Carthon because of how he was not doing the football stuff the right way.
That's not what they were telling us.
Well, I don't know.
That's why I say.
There was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we had been hearing that made the Rand Carthon firing make sense.
And you and I know a lot of those. I understand that, but don't listen to what they say.
Okay.
There is a controlling owner that makes the decisions based on circumstance.
Yeah,
so saying I guarantee is not smart, in my opinion.
Brian Callahan's not getting fired this year. Sticking my neck out for it.
I'd put your net back in and roll the window up. That's
fine. I mean, if you want to take
I'm not saying he is, but I'm definitely not putting my neck out there and saying
I'm doing
this is a guarantee.
I'll tell you this. If you want to go to your whatever sports book of your choice and whatever the odds are for Brian Callahan to get fired, you can waste money there if you want to place that bet. He's not getting fired.
I hope he doesn't, but I'm not going to say he's not going to.
And Carpet King says, I agree, Austin, not this year, but he will get demoted to hot seat. Oh, yeah. He could be on the hot seat in 2026, but he's not getting fired this year. That would hurt Cam Ward. They care more about Cam Ward than their head coaching position, right? Duh. Every NFL team should. It's harder to find the quarterback than it is the head coach.
They start 0-6, get blown out every single game.
They're not going to fire Brian Callahan.
Okay.
Look, I guess here's why I disagree with you the most. Because I think you said like he needs to get to 6-11, 7-10 to save his job. they're not looking the same thing that you answered about Cam Ward. The wins aren't there, but the throws are. That's how they're also going to view Brian Callahan, is not by
It's
the win
how,
levels.
though. We all know this, though, right? There's context to it. You always love to say context. How they lose and how they win is meaningful, right?
Absolutely.
And where the trajectory of the offense, and look, there's also things that happen throughout the course of the season, whether it's inside the locker room or team stuff or injury. There's so many things. So all I'm saying is, you saying that like it is God's word is, I just don't, I'm not agreeing with it.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Richie G says Brinker won and Callahan fired already. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's not accurate, Richie. Like, that's like, you're saying that like you heard it from a book. No, that's not the case.
Yeah,
Ted Brinker did not want Brian Callahan fired.
That's not the case. I am opening my mind up for room for change. I'm not saying it's going to happen. You're closing that door for room for change, and that's fine.
Again, my words, it will have to be an unmitigated disaster for Brian Callahan to get fired.
Well, you I mean, again,
he didn't get. Well,
don't Bo Nix Caleb Williams.
Would you describe Brian Callahan or last year as an unmitigated disaster with Will Levis?
Yes,
he survived. He didn't get fired.
Yeah, but
so a second one, okay. Brian Callahan.
Not everyone survived.
Brian Callahan cannot survive 2 unmitigated disasters. He's already survived 1.
It is what it is. All right.
So we're both at 6-11.
6-11.
Okay, but you think Callahan's on the block at 6-11?
Yeah, I think he's definitely on the block at 6-11. I think he because how 6-11 happens is meaningful. I mean, I've said 2 and 3. I think that now if you're 2 and 3 and you've won 2 games to start the season and you don't start out as a disaster, that has improved Brian Callahan's efforts so much, right? So much. But you can't lose the games like you did last year to start the season.
Yeah,
that cannot happen.
Yeah, you know why? Because William Levis III had 9 turnovers in the first 3 games. That loses football games. And you have Brian Callahan. What the hell are we doing? You know, that's where it is different.